in relation to the same story that we're talking about. And when we're talking about ground handling firms, this is what top sources are telling us about a Turkish aviation firm that's under the lens. Top sources have told Times Now that Turkish firm Celebi India is under the radar. This is a firm that handles ground operations in 9 airports. The center's closely reviewing the role of this particular firm is the information coming in. And let me quickly bring in some of our panelists on this. Veena Sikri, here is a firm that is from Turkey, a country which in fact has supported Pakistan, and a high security area like an airport is where it has access to. It not only does ground handling, but in the case of the New Delhi airport, it also handles cargo and logistics. Can we allow this to continue, ma'am?
No, absolutely not. I think as Ambassador Sybil has explained very clearly, I think with Turkey, we've always thought that if we intensify the economic relationship, then that will give them another reason for not openly supporting Pakistan the way they do. But we must remember that Erdogan is looking very much as rekindling the Ottoman Empire, the big caliphate that he wants to have again. And he was even talking of having this link of Turkey, Pakistan, and Malaysia being the 3 leaders of this new empire. They even wanted to have a new separate OIC, a new name and separate from the regular collection of Islamic countries. So obviously Turkey has different goals and ambitions, and he thinks that he can always win the West over to his side because of his connections there. But I think now that all this has come out so clearly, I think the economic angle should be completely cut down. But that will hit Turkey hard. Already we have seen that when Indian tour operators are cancelling all the tours going to Turkey, the Turkish airlines are putting out great posters and messages telling Indian tourists, no, please come, the people of Turkey, they love you and they don't bother about political and stuff like that. So obviously it's hurting them, and we should go ahead full steam on that and cut off all the economic ties that we have tried to build up with countries like Turkey in the hope that this would wean them away from Pakistan. But this is not to be. They are completely set on their Islamic goals and they're not going to change. The Muslim Brotherhood is more important for them than anything they want to do ever with India.
Absolutely. And let me bring in Dr. Ranganathan. You have a firm that is from Turkey. Of course, it has subsidiaries. There are various other international countries that have invested in it as well. But the very fact that you've handed over such a sensitive role, and we have to take our security very seriously. A place like an airport, which can make you so vulnerable, is it all right to hand over such a facility or such an important function to a firm that now the government has to review it? That's a question that we have to ask us, that how was this allowed in the first place?
Good evening, Madhav, and good evening to my fellow panelists. I would like to answer your question. Absolutely not, and I'm astonished that this was going on, and I thank Abhijit for flagging this issue. Thank you, Abhijit. A couple of things out here. Let me say it bluntly. In a couple of decades from now, Pakistan would be where Afghanistan is today, and Turkey would be where Pakistan is today. We can't reinvent the wheel. This is how it happens. It starts very innocuously, but it ends exactly like an Islamic nation ends. That is the question that Turkey refuses to see or answer. Now, a couple of points. This is not about India boycotting or Indians boycotting Turkey just because Turkish weapons have been used by an enemy country. No, because Chinese weapons have also been used. Are we boycotting China? No, our trade deficit or trade with China is $120 billion. It's not about boycotting America, even though F-16s are being used by Pakistan. It is about that in this war, clear-cut war, Turkey is blatantly supporting Pakistan, condemning India for using missiles against Pakistan. Even China has not done it. So this is not about weapons of Turkey being used, as many congresses are saying. People are saying, oh, what about China? Well, for a start, I have asked India, I have been, clamoring for us not having trade with China for the last 5 years, ever since Galwan or, of course, COVID that destroyed the world economy, killed millions. Be that as it may, this distinction needs to be made. That people who want to boycott Turkey are boycotting it not because Turkish weapons are being used by Pakistan, but because it is blatantly come out in support of Pakistan, condemned India for attacking Pakistan, terror hubs in Pakistan. That's number one. Number two, about this, Abhijit flagging this issue, this is of crucial importance. And I think you can say, der aaye durust aaye, but, in matters of security, there is no such thing as der aaye durust aaye. Because even a minute's delay or a week's delay can be a difference between catastrophe and something that can be saved. So I think, I don't think heads need to be rolled because we don't know enough. But something needs to be done because it
Well,
is
the
not just
government is
yesterday.
certainly taking it seriously.
It's
The
not
government-
just yesterday that Turkey has turned out
Yes.
this way. It's as Ambassador Sibbal
Yes.
said, ever since Erdogan came
Okay.
in, you know, his stance has been anti-India.
Okay, let me